Hello, my name is Christopher Karachale, and I am Senior Counsel at Hanson Bridgett. Today, I am going to discuss the taxation of employee use of employer-provided vehicles. In other words, if an employer provides a car for an employee to use as part of his or her job, when does the use of that car create additional income for employees subject to tax? If the employee uses the vehicle as part of his work for the employer, that use is generally not taxable to the employee. It is excluded from income as a working condition fringe benefit under IRC Section 132. If, however, the employee uses the vehicle for personal use, that use represents additional compensation to the employee. The employer must treat this use as a taxable fringe benefit and include additional compensation on the employee's Form W-2. What is personal use? Anything not directly related to the employee's work in carrying on the employer's trade or business. This means commuting between home and work, vacation or weekend use of the vehicle, and use of the vehicle by a spouse or dependent. How can an employer calculate the amount of additional wages arising from personal use of an employer-provided vehicle? The Treasury regulations provide 3 valuation rules to help employers quantify personal use of vehicles subject to tax. The employers can generally choose between these methods with certain limitations. First, the lease valuation rule attaches a value to the vehicle based on how much it would cost to obtain a comparable lease. If, for example, it would cost $10,000 per year to lease an equivalent vehicle, and the employee uses the vehicle half for work and half for personal use during the year, the employee is deemed to have $5,000 of additional taxable wages. Second, the cents per mile rule provides that each personal mile driven by the employee constitutes additional income for the employee based on an IRS designated rate. For 2014, that rate is 56 cents per mile. So, if the employer provides an employee with a vehicle and during 2014 the employee drives the car 1,000 miles for personal use, the employee will have $560 of additional wages. Finally, the commuting value rule. This is the easiest of the valuation rules, where the employee's only personal use of the vehicle is commuting to and from work, and the employee is not highly compensated. Each leg of the commute, regardless of length, represents an additional $1.50 of compensation. But be careful. Employers and employees must maintain adequate records and written policies to substantiate these various valuation methodologies. Okay, I realize these rules are complicated, but the key is to remember these valuation rules are simply trying to help employers and employees find manageable ways to quantify personal use. Now, while personal use of an employer-provided vehicle generally represents additional income, there are a class of vehicles that the Treasury regulations designate as never giving rise to additional income, regardless of the type of use. That is, these vehicles are so unlikely to be used for personal use, employers and employees don't have to worry about keeping track of business versus personal use. These vehicles are known as qualified non-personal use vehicles. The most common include clearly marked police, fire, and public safety officer cars, certain unmarked law enforcement vehicles, trucks that are used to respond to emergency situations, and pickup trucks and vans that are clearly marked as the employer's and are designed or modified to carry out specific tasks. So, that's it. Just remember the basics. Personal use of an employer-provided vehicle counts as additional compensation for an employee. The employer can use various methods to compute the amount of taxable income arising from such personal use. Employees must substantiate their business and personal use. However, qualified non-personal use vehicles never give rise to income for employees.